Welcome to the Happiness Alchemy podcast for magical women craving business, life, and spiritual growth. Stay with me to expand and empower yourself to live a life you love. Episode 7, Energy Forecast for the week of February 11th, 2018. This week, the 2-card decks that came out to play that wanted to help us for this week are the Druid Animal Oracle and the Ascendant Masters Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. So this week, we have the new moon coming up. So we have some new beginnings, planting some seeds, things like that. So these are the two animals that came up. I love that these two animals came up. So the two animal guides that came up for us today are the ram and the salmon. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what these cards mean. And they were both drawn in reversed as well. And if you do want to get a visual of this, you can hop over to my blog. So the animal guides that came up this week, the energy that's rolling in with the new moon, they really bring a lot of wisdom with them, which, you know, all kind of spirit animals do. But what I found really interesting is the visual that I intuitively got this week was very much of a mountain. Of a lot of us are feeling like we need to climb up over the mountain as opposed to flowing around it. So I found it really interesting that we have the ram who's on the mountain, and then we have the salmon who's flowing around it. So it was just kind of cool to see the two different ways. But both of us have messages about how we can be doing more flow and kind of climbing with more ease and grace if we choose to go up the mountain rather than around it. Okay, so stay with me here. So if you find yourself feeling resistance towards others or towards new opportunities or circumstances, so this might not necessarily be like a huge resistance. This might be a little bit of a subtle one, especially if you've been doing a lot of inner work. So it might just be like a little bit of a twinge. So you can feel this resistance, you can feel this kind of like jealousy or this anger, this something feels off within you. So pay attention to that this week, because that's coming up to be healed and to be released. So with the new moon this week, you have the opportunity to choose a new path, a new story, which is the same in every single moment and every single breath that you have. But with the new moon, this is, really amplified. So it's the difference between trying so hard that you actually create resistance and following your intuitive flows and cycles to maximize the energy you output, what you get back in return. Okay. So that's kind of like, there's a polarity there, right? So in one circumstance, you're trying so hard, you're creating resistance, you're getting frustrated, and it's probably something that you have previously kind of like succeeded in before or had some ease in before, and so now you're kind of getting to a new level of it, and you might find that resistance come up. So it's completely natural. So just kind of like pay attention to that this week. You might feel like this is something that you've already worked on or dealt with, or it might be something that you've been dealing with for a while, but it's coming up this week again for review. So this can also kind of show up whenever you're giving your power away. So for example, well, first, before I kind of give the examples, number one, you are the decision maker in your life. You are the highest authority figure on what is best for you. Nobody can tell you anything else that's highest and best for you. No guide, no guru, no, coach or anything like that. Ultimately, it is within you. And if it doesn't resonate and check in with you, then it is not highest and best for you. You are your highest authority. So keep that in mind too, as I kind of talk about this next little part. So sometimes we can fall into a place where we're relying on others for our direction, or where we feel our circumstances not being affected by us, like that don't have any say in the things that are happening to us. So whenever we're doing that and giving our power away, the power animals this week are saying, they're not really having that anymore. So number one, be sure that you're in your power. Be sure that you are your number one authority. Okay, so that's very, very, very important this week. And if you feel like you are fighting your way to the top, so again, let's take this visual of the mountain again. So this, you could take a visual of seeing like a salmon trying to climb up a mountain. It's not going to work really well because they are more suited to flow around the mountain. Whereas the ram trying to, get through the water around the mountain is not going to have as easy of a time as whenever they intuitively follow where they are led. So just because you're led in a different direction, it means that's a line for, who you are and the gifts that you have. So when you're sometimes we can get into this place where we're looking around and seeing what others are doing and, oh, that's working for them, well, I should try it too. tune into yourself and ask, actually, is that best for me? Because oftentimes seeing that somebody is getting results going on a certain path does not necessarily mean you're going to get the same results going on that path as well. So it's most important that you're tuning into yourself and saying, which one is right for me? Okay, I kind of went off book a little bit there. But so if you find you are, you're fighting your way to the top, first thing you want to do this week is take some care of yourself. So like I said, that resistance, if you feel that resistance is coming in because you're trying so hard, take some time for yourself this week. First, you like self-care, make sure that you're nourished, number one. And then number 2, you want to reassess. Where do you want to go? So, I mean, maybe you did this at the start of the year and you thought you were pretty clear and then you're feeling resistance again. That changes happen that quickly, especially this year. Things are moving. So ask yourself again, where do I want to go? What would feel amazing? What if I didn't have to work crazy hard and struggle to get there? Or do I feel like I do have to struggle to get there? So again, things coming up for release, old stories coming up for release this week. So do you feel like you're fighting against an invisible force to do that? So do some journaling and figure out the root cause and the why as to why you feel like you are trudging towards something as opposed to flowing towards it, because you can get to that place of flow and you can shift over to that place of flow this week. It doesn't have to be a long, terrible journey. So just allow yourself time to figure out what is best for you and what you really want to do. So another energy they were bringing forth this week too is connecting into your inner magical child, because she knows exactly what's best for you. So if you're finding it trouble, be like, oh, I don't know what I want, things are not feeling great, just stop and breathe into your heart, connect into the earth, get down to basics. Remember what brought you joy as a child, what lit you up, remember your happiest, best memories. What were you feeling? Tune into that energy again. So connecting into your inner magical child, she knows what's best for you and what will feel best and get the best results for you. So this week, again, this week is focused on you. It's based on you. So how to bring more of yourself out to the world, how to align yourself so that the path that you're taking is aligned exactly to your soul, how to recognize more of the amazingness of who you are and do the healing work in order to allow that to flow. So for a lot of us, that means stepping out of this cycle of struggle. It's time to step out of that. It's time to flow with what feels best for you. So follow yourself, or follow your own inner guidance, follow that own inner knowing. Your body will tell you, even if you're not like insanely intuitively connected, tune in and listen to your body, because it will tell you the truth always. All right, so that is the general forecast for the week. So I've also chosen 3 cards that are a little bit more individualized guidance, how to work with that energy that I just talked about, how to work with that best for you. So we have cards 1, 2, and 3 this week. And if you want to, just take a moment here and breathe into your heart. Again, slowing your breathing, relaxing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And just calming, connecting in with your heart, connecting in with your body. And asking, what is highest and best for me this week? Card 1, 2, or 3, or you might notice a combination come up. All right, so if you've got the number there, if you need to pause and pause this podcast for a moment and just kind of breathe in an extra few moments to really get centered, go ahead and do that. All right, so moving on now. If you chose card number 1 this week, and I love the cards that came up. Again, it's the Ascendant Masters Oracle deck, and I was really called to use this deck this week. So I love beautiful cards coming up this week. So if you chose card number 1, Kuan Yin came up. She has such a magical, divine, feminine, compassionate, flowing energy. It's just absolutely beautiful. And beautiful in the sense not that it's super pretty, which, yes, that works too, but in the sense that it opens and expands your heart. So this week she is calling for you to let it go. And I swear to God sometimes that I feel like that song, Let It Go, was channeled from the divine, and potentially Kuan Yin had a little bit to do with it, I feel like. So it is time to let it go. If you chose card number 1 this week, Kuan Yin is working with you this week to help you with great compassion, to learn to flow in your own stream, in your own current. So you see how the cards this week are very, very much working with the animals that came down to give the outlook for the week. So as we step into the energy of the new moon this week, you want to really surround yourself with compassion. You might be going through a healing time, and it's especially important to have that compassion for yourself. You can't expect others to have compassion and take care of you and things like that. If you don't have that for yourself. So really, really focusing on that. So allowing yourself to breathe into your heart this week and asking that inner heart knowing, just like you did when you chose the card, what do I really want? Really allowing yourself time to do that. And then following it up with asking, what do I need to let go of to allow this to become my reality? Because if it's not your reality now, it means there's some type of resistance in the middle there. And that's not a big deal. That can go. That can be released. But it's about awareness of it in order to release it. So you want to ask, this thing that it is that I want to create, this place that it is that I want to go, what do I need to release in terms of beliefs, in terms of maybe some resistant emotions like anger or frustration? What do I need to release in order to allow that to become a reality? So you want to replace any struggle, anger, resentment, frustration. You want to replace all of that with forgiveness and compassion, and that's how you're going to make the most of the week, and you're going to come out of the week feeling fresh and renewed, as opposed to feeling like you're smashing into a brick wall repeatedly. All right, so that is card number 1, Kuan Yin. Again, if you any of these cards that I chose too, and same thing with the animals that came up. If at any point you feel called to go into a bit of a meditation and connect in with that energy independently yourself this week, it also is going to bring you more messages and more guidance and more empowered energy. So it's really, really, I really recommend that if you feel called to. All right, so card number 2 this week is Ocean. And she came up, the last time she came up was with the full moon. So I love how she's just like, she's rolling with the moon. She's rolling with the moon. Of course she's rolling with the moon. So she's calling, what it states on her card is to drink more water. So although she is calling you to drink more water, yeah, that's a piece of it. And you know what? As we're processing more and more energy and more light, we're going to keep getting that message to drink more and more water. So she's really encouraging you to tap into your own knowledge of what you need to support yourself. So it's a really big theme this week. With this new moon, we're being encouraged by our guides to really tune into ourselves, follow ourselves, get to know ourselves, and move forward from that place. So yes, increased water intake is important, as is being near water in nature or listening to water sounds. Having a fountain nearby is all about reminding you to stay in the flow. So just anything that kind of reminds you of that, and especially if you see flowing water at some point this week, whether it's an image or actual flowing water, that's Ocean reaching down and kind of just reminding you, go with your own flow. So these are all the different ways that she's working her magic and wisdom to help with you. So this week you really want to listen to the inner river. So like the electrical currents in your body, you know, the way that the water and the blood flows in your body, and just kind of asking it, what do I need to allow this to run smoothly? And that could be emotionally, it could be physically, but it's just tuning into your own inner currents, your own inner rivers, because there's so much intelligence there again, and asking, you know, what do I need this week? So you have the potential to really increase your capacity to receive. That was another message that she was really bringing through this week. So any area of your life that you're feeling resistance of, you have the power to make it harmonious and to increase your inner flow. And that starts with asking what you need to feel fully supported. Only from that place of feeling fully supported can you fully support it from yourself, from within. Can you take the actions that are going to really shift the trajectory of the timeline that you're headed on? So you really want to first tune into that and allow any images of water, any images of running water to remind you of her this week and remind you of what your move is this week in order to get fully aligned in your flow. All right, so card number 3. If you chose card number 3 this week, it is Serapis Bey. And he's coming forth with a message, and he's coming forth with a really good energy this week. So he wants you to go. He wants you to make your move. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Like he's really pretty strong with that. So with the spirit animals we have this week, it's really clear that Serapis Bey is on the edge of his seat. He's like, well, he's not even sitting down anymore. He's standing up now. Magic is in his hand. He is ready. He wants to really assist you with getting moving here. This is the week. So you want to be sure that the direction you're going is first aligned to your soul. So that's something that he wants to pull down as well. So again, you're going to know that the direction you're headed is aligned to your soul because you're going to feel it in your whole body and you're going to gravitate towards it. Even if it scares you and even if you find ways to sabotage yourself and maybe watch Netflix or do other things other than working on it, you can feel it with your whole body whenever you tune into it. You can absolutely feel that it's the right direction. If you're getting anything yes, then this full body hell yes, reassess and say, is this the direction I want to go in? Maybe there's just a small pivot I need to make, or maybe there's a huge change I need to make. Tune into that. Number one. If you find this week there's something that that's on your plate that gives your body that whole body yes, you're probably going to find that you're out of excuses as to why you can't move forward on it. This is the week to move forward on it. So it's time to take that action that you've been considering, and you know deep within what that next action step is. And if you don't, take quiet time to listen to it. It's your next step in your ascension, in your evolution, in your growth, and it is very, very, very important that you take action on that this week. So it's expanding your potential like amazingly. So really, really good things are going to follow this as you are, again, following what you're intuitively pulled to. And that seems to be the big message of this week. It's about you and it's about what you are pulled to. So even if you're like, oh, I don't know what these next steps are, I'm not really getting anything, tune in and find out what the tiny steps are. It doesn't have to be like this big, crazy, like makeover style situation. It can be just a small step. Like, okay, so this week you are eating greens and you're breathing into your heart and you're like, okay, that might not, be the biggest step that I could possibly make. But as you're doing that, it starts to open up the doorway and it starts to open up many, many different opportunities and different energies that you can accept. Don't discount the small, subtle changes that are going to make huge doorways of opportunity available. All right, so that is the entire energy forecast for the week of February 11th, 2018, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for listening to the Happiness Alchemy podcast. If you know someone who would resonate with this message, please share this episode with them. Sending so much gratitude. Have an amazing day.